Hello, and welcome to another episode of 207 Aikido. I've got something a little bit different for you this time. I've been spending a lot of time underneath my car recently, and some of the things I've been doing have provided inspiration for some of our kotegaeshi brainstorms. So I thought I would share some of those ideas with you, and maybe you'll find them helpful too. One of the things we talked about with kotegaeshi was moving around the direction of uke's resistance. This is, of course, very similar to a bolt. A bolt is going to resist you in one direction, in and out, but you can move it very simply in a circular direction. But of course, bolts aren't always the easiest things to reach. So sometimes you have to use things like an extension, or you might have to use something like a universal joint. This universal joint is going to allow me to change the direction that I'm coming at the bolt from. If I add another extension, now we have something that's a good stand-in for a human arm. And I have to be careful about the way that I turn this universal joint. If I add force in the proper direction, the universal joint will translate that force into circular motion at the bolt. But if I'm not careful about the way that I apply force into that universal joint, I'm just going to cause the bolt to bind up or to even pop off. As soon as I start adding vectors that would move this end of the assembly, I'm going to cause this end to bind up or to pop off. So, as Kono Sensei would say, I'm trying to leave this end where it is. And that's the same thing with an arm in kotegaeshi. Another thing to think about is that this assembly is obviously not a straight line. But we can still think about moving around it, because this joint is going to translate the circular force here into circular force here. It's the same thing with uke's arm at the elbow. And that's where this feeling for connection comes in. I want to feel at each joint that force is translating as much as possible in the right direction. And see, now I'm adding the wrong vectors. But if I keep this in place, well, let's seat that, let's get connection. Now if I keep this in place, I'll be able to translate that force the way I want it to. So there are a few thoughts about kotegaeshi. I hope they're as helpful to you as they were for me. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.